tore the neighborhood up. Look at all the shit that we did, murders and lifelong bids. If my enemies love their kids, you don't wanna die. And I don't wanna kill you, keep my name out your mouth. For a nigga after drill you, all my enemies bugging. For the shit that they did, don't make me murder you, nigga. If my enemies love their kids, you rap plastic. Look at this trash. It takes a nigga with the fight automatic. It cause static like a mob bird thumping and motherfuckers don't play the role of a bitch. Like Michael Jackson wanna be starting something. I'll out my crew and they parachute through the chest. Got that ass in my sight. Tonight I'm busting off the terrace with multiple gunshots. Niggas is dropping rapidly, busting that group of guys. Some bitches is running after me, telling them hi. When they ask why, I'm slipping out the top of my drop. Cause you know why, keep dipping on my block. They sell rocks and box with real cops. And now we bust shots from Glocks. Fuck cops, my only fear of death. Can you hear me? Is coming back. Had enough of this bullshit, well, none of that. I felt no remorse for all the shit that we did. Niggas dying here to summons. If my enemies love their kids, you don't wanna die. And I don't wanna kill you. Keep my name out your mouth. For a nigga have to drill you, all my enemies love me. For the shit that they did, don't make me murder you, nigga. If my enemies love their kids.
I have the WK180c. It's a variant of the AR-180B. Semi-automatic piston-driven rifle, chambered in .223 or 5.56 nail, so 5.56 by 45, and it's made by Kodiak Defense in Canada. AR-180B was sold from 2001 to 2007 with a mostly low cost in mind for the consumer. WK180c is still designed to hit a certain price point. Comes with several important upgrades over the older 180B models. Advantages the WK180c has over the AR-180B: the receiver Picatinny rail. It saves you around $80 from buying a mount. It has an aluminum upper plus lower. The old lower was polymer and had a tendency to crack at the front pivot point. Also used a standard AR-15 grip. Aluminum forend with rail top, M-lock slots. Pretty light and stiff, more flexible. It has an AR-15 buffer tube, stock mount adapter. So this raises the stock so that's in line with the barrel. Reduces the muzzle rise and enables you to put a plethora of AR-15 stocks, AR-15 style barrel and a barrel nut. They'll still need to be over 18 plus 5 inches and use a carbine gas port. At least there's more options you have for barrels. The left or right side charging handle, so it's ambidextrous charging handle. It has an ambidextrous safety lever. WK180c is a substantial upgrade in ergonomics, flexibility, and quality of the materials used compared to the older AR-180B. Basically have access to the AR platform, but in non-restricted. It's a big plus for the WK. You have an infinite amount of aftermarket parts and AR compatible parts with this. Barrel, though it must be a carbine length, you get upgrades for it. Muzzle brake and flash hider. You can put your own on that if you want. The forend must fit the glass block. The stock buffer tube and end plate, pistol grips, no beaver tail obviously, and the trigger. Unlike a true AR-15, you get a folding stock for it without a care for your buffer tube and spring. Since it doesn't have one in the buffer tube, and the bolt doesn't get as dirty because it's piston driven. The cons of the WK. These I'm gonna give it because it's fairly new compared to ARs. They can get resolved. Gen 2, there's hopefully less problems, but the Gen 1, there are a number of problems. The factory trigger is the first problem, I'd say. It's not the best. I would change it out if I were you for an aftermarket set. You can get the ALG ACT if you look for a low priced trigger upgrade, roughly around $80. The end is a bit short for today's fashion. Most rifles use a 15-inch or over handguard instead of the 10 to 11-inch handguard on the WK180. The trigger and the hammer pins aren't AR compatible. They need an anti-rotation and anti-walk option. Gas block is touching the forend. It has no shower deflector, so the brass starts to mark up the finish. It's pretty chunky if you ask me. You might like it. So reliability and parts issues. Really not that much reliability or part breakages with the WK180c. I haven't really experienced much. Numerous people that have. The charging handles, I've gone through revision 3 times. This is aftermarket 3D printed. The original one was not retained by anything other than the aluminum receiver. They can chowder out the aluminum a bit, so Kodiak opted to get a magnetic one. Those failed, so then they went to screw in a charging handle. Some of those failed and fell off. There was a run of bolts that were improperly heat treated. Some of those failed as well on the lugs on the sleeve that rise the recoil spring guides. The cam pin chowders out the aluminum receiver on the inside, of the rail. Longer and extended period of time, you'll probably get some issues. I think it's pretty accurate, man. Field scope on this, push no light on it, but it's pretty accurate. There's not that much recoil. Non-restricted access to an AR platform upgrades with $1,100. Mostly aluminum construction, should last longer than plastic. But unlike most of the non-restricted rifles under $1,200, it's suitable for a 3-gun match. You upgrade the trigger. That's the first thing I'd recommend you do. Price point wise, it's competing against firearms with worse ergonomics, like the Type 97. Outside of this price, it's competing against other bullpups and the WS MCR. Price standpoint, I mean, you can't go wrong, man.